apparently not all common sense is common knowledge. So today I want to talk about something that is assumed to be common knowledge, but it is not common knowledge. Okay, but today I'm talking about the question that keeps coming, and I keep addressing it, but I think I should also address it maybe once every month. The question of, can you still have a child? Can you still have kids? You know, I have tried to cover this topic quite a number of times, but I know for the past 2 months I've not spoken about it in detail. Okay, and so yesterday someone asked me on my video, can you still have children? And I asked back and I said, do people carry children on their breast? That's how I responded, because sometimes I just have to give someone back what their dose is. And this guy wrote back, and I sensed and I realized, oh, I think this guy is not joking. He really does not know. He really does not know, because he wrote back and he said, no, I did not intend to annoy you. I was just asking because I thought that, maybe the productive system. So the moment he wrote productive system instead of reproductive system, I knew, ta-da, there's a problem here, because that is someone who does not know. I'm on cancer treatment. There's light at the end of tunnel. There's light at the end of the tunnel. So keep hope alive. Now, so I want to address the question of, can someone have children after mastectomy or after breast cancer treatment? Okay. I think the question comes because of the fact that they see that there is no breast. Right? They see there is no breast and they wonder, how can a woman without breast have kids? And that also leads to the question also that I get a lot of people asking, do you have children? So that is very close to, can you have children, or do you have children, or do you have a husband? So all those things come to one area where there is that assumption of the breast playing the role of reproducing children, the breast playing the role of keeping a husband, the breast playing a role of motherhood. Okay, and that is something that now I have to come once in a while to debunk it. We want to debunk that, which some people think is a fact, and it is not a fact. Okay. So I like teaching, by the way. I love teaching. I did graduate 1 year. Is it 1 year or a few months after finishing my cancer treatment? I graduated with my doctorate. Okay, so that's just to encourage anybody going through their cancer treatment right now that please don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You can still achieve what you've dreamt of. You can still reach that mark. Get to the mark that you wanted to reach even after you are told you have cancer. Okay, so those words, you have cancer, those words don't mark the end of your dreams or the end of your life. Okay, today I'm coming to respond to a question that is really dominant, and I know I have addressed this topic not so many times, but I have already addressed this topic. This is something that's common knowledge, but like I said, we cannot assume that something that's common to me is common to somebody else. Okay, and so every time I've been assuming that it is common sense that everybody should know that the breast is not part of the reproductive system. All right, but I've realized and I've come to accept that many people may not have studied biology. Okay, and many people really don't have, especially maybe the male, as long as they're not women, they don't know, they don't know. Today we are talking about the relationship between breasts and the reproductive system under the topic of breast cancer. Guys, the breast is the mammary gland. Okay, Men have breasts, women have breasts. Women's breasts will grow. Some men's breasts also grow. Women's breasts grow because they use that to feed babies that are born. Okay? Now, when a woman, and you know, the world has evolved and revolved to a point of nowadays, not everybody that you see physically as biology and as whatever it is, you can't look at somebody and assume this is a woman. Okay, you have to ask them how they define or how they identify. Okay, however, now somebody that identifies as a woman who, you know, envisions or looks forward to carrying a baby in their womb or in their uterus and give birth, okay, they give birth. For you to get pregnant, all right, there is parenting through adoption, there is parenting through you know, yeah, mostly it's adoption and your own way of giving birth. So leaving adoption aside, getting pregnant, all right, getting pregnant means a male of a given species and a female of a given species come together, okay. And TikTok normally regulates some words, so I cannot say some words, because if I say those words, TikTok will cut me short. Okay, but when I say come together, adults understand what I mean by come together. Okay, yes, let's use the word mate. Okay, female species and male species comes together and mate. All right, when they mate and there was ovulation and all these things, then pregnancy can occur. I say when there is ovulation, and I say pregnancy can occur, because it is not all the time that the two, the female and the male, come together that they will be whatever, pregnancy will occur. In almost all species, even in cows, goats, crocodiles. I don't know about crocodiles. Humans, you know, you have couples that have been married maybe sometimes for years, and you know they mate. Some of them mate every day. They can mate from Monday to Monday, but no pregnancy. Okay, so again, it all depends on what's the plan of God. What does God plan in such circumstances, right? But that is how people get pregnant. Okay. Now, in that process, you involve a male's P and a woman's VV, and that and pregnancy. Okay. Having said that, when that pregnancy happens, the organs that are involved are organs that, number one, produces the semen, the sperm, okay, and organs that produce the egg from the female species, all right? And those organs, you'll find they are the ovaries, right? Yes, the ovaries, the fallopian tube, and it will come and travel, and that's why the female species, or the woman, or the female will be having menstruation every month, all right? Because the egg comes and there is no sperm, all right, and then it will go and implant on the walls of the uterus. It implants on the walls of the uterus, causes some kind of small wound, and it will shed with it, and that's why there's the blood every month, and then it heals, and then another one travels and come, pop, does that. The reason why when you get pregnant you don't have menstruation is because now there's nothing being shed, because a child has planted and it is growing. Okay. Now, having said all that story of ovulation, of mating, of all those things, did you hear me say the word breast? I did not talk about breast at all. The breast does not produce any egg, any ova. The breast does not contribute in any way in pregnancy. The only thing that maybe you could say that the breast does is what they call foreplay, right? It maybe causes people to get into the mood of every other thing to happen. Okay? But even without those breasts, those other things can still happen. Even without breast, pregnancy can still happen because there is no production of either sperms or eggs for the woman on this top part of the body. This top part of the body was created to be mammary glands for the little infants born to breastfeed. Okay? Now, having said that, the question that keeps coming on my posts, on my videos, when I go live, and I've addressed it regularly, is the question of, can you still have kids? Now you tell me, in all this learning that we've done for this brief moment, how can not having the breast prevent me from having children? How can not having the breast prevent another woman from not having children? Okay? That cannot prevent anybody from not having children or from getting pregnant. Now, for me, it may appear, like something simple when someone asks me, and I can brush it off. The question of, can you have children because I don't have breast? It looks light for me. To me, it looks light. However, for other people, it does not look light because, listen to this. If a man, for instance, the men, there are a number of men that have asked me, can you have children, on my posts. You can imagine if there is a man who has not gone to school. Thanks, JB. If there is a man who has not gone to school, okay, and is not learned, and this man has a wife, okay, and this man maybe has one child or two children, and they want to have more, or they don't have children, and then this wife is diagnosed with breast cancer, but early diagnosis, or maybe let me say maybe a stage 2, stage 3, okay? But then this man, because this man is not learned, so this man will prevent, and there are women who are learned and women who are exposed. They cannot be controlled by their spouses. Not that they don't respect their spouses, but they have their own minds to think. Okay? But there are women, all right? Especially women who are in communities where people don't go to brick institutions for education. All right? These are women who their husbands can simply tell them, your breasts are not going to be cut. I have told you your breasts will not be cut, and they will not be cut. Do you know that happens? Do you know that happens? There is a doctor who is my friend that does my annual Hope Gala in the US. This doctor's sister, her own sister, a woman that was learned, had colon cancer, bowel cancer. Is it bowel or bowel? Bowel cancer. And she was meant to get the colostomy bag. But guess what? Her husband, the spouse, told her, a colostomy bag is filthy. You cannot live your life walking around with a colostomy bag. Do you know what this woman chose to do? She chose to die. And she had children, and she had siblings who loved her, and she had a parent who loved her. And this is a sister to someone I know who chose to die than to walk around with a colostomy bag. And she was going to live so many more years. Now that helps you understand why I've come to realize that especially the men who ask me, can you still have children? These are men who caused me to come and address this topic monthly. Every once in a month, I will cover it. Because these are men, and especially people who are from patriarchal societies that are so much where women should be seen and not heard. Okay? Those are societies where a man will tell a woman, okay, fine, they've said you have breast cancer, but they can give you medicine to take, because I am not going to allow you to cut your breast, because if you cut your breast, we will not be able to get children. Do you understand the connection? When people cannot understand simple biology of the reproductive system, they will tie it to things like breast and deny women life. Because guess what? There are people who decide to take out their breasts when they have breast cancer because maybe they've done their own research, maybe they just want to be comfortable after, they don't want to go through so many processes every time. And I am one of them. I chose to take this out and I chose not to have them replaced because life like this is easier for me. Because I don't want to keep going for the mammograms and keep going for the scans to check what is inside. I just want to run my fingers only. I want my doctor to just run the fingers only. That's enough. I just want them to take me for scanning when they sense something in my blood. God forbid. Okay? But there are people who the doctor has told them, we can only save your life if your breast is taken out. Okay? Because if we do chemotherapy, maybe they've done chemotherapy, but the lump is not shrinking. So they decide, you know what? We need to cut this breast out, because if we go and take out the lump only, there will be a very narrow margin or cancer will be left on your skin or on close to your chest. Because when you go for breast cancer surgery, either taking out the lump only or cutting off all the breast, they measure the distance between the cancer tumor and the area that was cut. Okay? Now, for instance, for me, when they cut off and they took off the breast, they measured the tumor where the tumor is on that breast. So let's say this is the breast, okay? This is the breast that they've cut, and this is the surface, right? So this is where they've cut. So this was like this, and they cut it here. So the tumor is inside here. So what they do is they measure. If the tumor is far away here from the surface, they say the tumor is far away from the margin. So this is the margin, the surface that they cut. But if the tumor is here, close to the margin, then they say close or very close to the margin. You ask yourself, what difference does that make? And this is very important information for people who come from regions or countries where cancer treatment is not to that level where they would want it to be. So it helps you know questions to ask and things to contribute when you're meeting with your doctor. Okay? So if the tumor is close to the margin, if it is close to the margin, those are cases where, whether it was early stage, you will hear the doctor telling you need to go for radiation. Okay? Because when it is close to the margin, then it is highly likely that there is some cancer cells that could be left on the skin surface. All right? However, if the tumor is far from the margin, then you will find that there is no need of radiation. Okay? Because it's highly likely that there is no cancer cell on or left on the skin surface. All right? So that is what happened to me. When they took out the breast and the cancer was on the left side, it was far away from the margin. So however much I pleaded to have radiation done, the doctors refused to give me radiation. And they told me, you are not a candidate for radiation. And they chased me away. Okay? Now, back to the topic. Those women who choose to die because maybe they feel they will be ugly without breast, and they're being told, look, your life depends on this surgery, we need to take all your breast. They say, you know what, I can't live without breast, just let me die. I cannot let people see me without breast. Or those women who they don't want their husbands to leave them or their spouses to leave them. They say, if you take out my breast, my spouse will go look for another partner. They will leave me. So they choose to live for just a few months or maybe barely some years. And then they die. And when they die, that spouse will still go look for someone. So you living, that makes you ask yourself, if you are in this journey with us, with me, it makes you ask your question, do you want to live for you, or do you want to live for somebody else? Do you want to live for you, or do you want to live for somebody else? I would encourage you to live for you. I would really encourage you to live for you. My life before cancer, I used to live for people. Like, if I tell somebody the truth and the truth hurts the person, I'm like, oh, why did I tell them the truth? I should not have told them the truth. I should not say the truth. But then I've come to realize, really, it's not about, yes, it's highly about what that person will feel, but if you do something wrong. However, if you're doing something right and you're correcting with love and you're telling somebody the truth, but they get hurt, then that is not somebody to have around you. Somebody that cannot be corrected is not somebody to have around you. Okay? Now, back to our topic again. So where we have reached with this, we have learned, okay, that somebody can do away with the breast. Somebody may not have breast, but still they can get kids, but still they can get pregnant, but still they can nurture their babies. Their babies can still feed because they are formulas and they are milk banks. Guys, my baby who came before cancer, 2 weeks before cancer, she drank breast milk until she was until she was 1.5 to 2 years. Why? Because there are milk banks. Even apart from formula, there are milk banks. Guess what? My daughter could not drink any kind of formula. You put any kind of formula in her mouth and she vomits. You put any kind of formula in her mouth and she chokes. And insurance had to certify this. How many formulas have you tried? You can imagine the pain I was going through. My newborn cannot breastfeed because my breasts need to be taken out because I want them out because of breast cancer. And this baby cannot drink formula at all. And none of my kids, all of them, I breastfed them. Then God sent wonderful women, and if they are here, I want to say thank you so much. There are women who are called milk donors. These are women who produce milk like Frisian cows. I respect those women. And they opt to help children whose mothers have died at childbirth, or children whose mothers are very sick after childbirth, or children who have been surrogate. They've been born by surrogate mothers and then handed over to the parent. And the mother who birthed them is gone. So they don't have breast milk. So in areas or regions or countries that have breast milk banks, oh, that is a blessing. Breast milk bank in Austin saved my daughter. And they have to test women and check their health, and then they have to pump extra milk. They have their children are getting enough milk, and then they pump extra, they take it to the milk bank, and then this milk that they take to the milk bank, it helps women like me who are going through breast cancer and cannot breastfeed their babies, and their babies cannot drink formula. So guess what? I had milk coming in every week. Healthy human milk coming in every week. And my child drank. I tell that baby, this baby, you are the brightest. This baby has taken milk from Caucasian women, from Indian women, from black women, from all sorts, Hispanic women. She has drank everybody's milk, you know. So there is that blessing. God will always find a way where there seems to be no way.